thank you all for joining us this afternoon. And it's my great pleasure to welcome one of our newer members to the Chamber, Gamze, and I think she likes to be called G, is that right? Thank you. So this afternoon's webinar is on how to stay productive whilst working remotely, which obviously we're all having to do at the moment, or most of us are having to do at the moment. So I know Gamze is a great specialist on time management, and she's going to talk us through some hints and tips on how to improve that, which I know, I'm speaking personally, I know it's something I will find extremely useful, and I hope you do too. So I'm going to hand over to Gamze and let you take over with your slides. You're going to share your screen and take it away. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Alison, and welcome everyone. Let me just start by sharing my screen while you write in the chat, what is that one thing that could be better about working from home? I have been doing this for a while. I'll give you a little bit of background information about me, not to make it about me, but I like to give this like, why should you even listen to me kind of thing when I start my webinars and generally talks. So welcome again, and this is all about how to stay productive whilst working from home remotely. And of course, I will, as always, start by saying, and I'm sure everybody did this so far, just try to stay healthy, positive, and productive. These three are the key of survival right now. I know that we're getting used to this new normal at this point, but I just wanted to have a really short reminder in the beginning before I talk a little bit about myself. Right, I'm a scientist originally, a molecular biologist and geneticist to be exact. So I worked with viruses. I learned about Corona back when I was studying. And I did 2 master degrees on top of that. One was an MBA in France, and I did another master's in cancer biology in Switzerland. So everything I approach to, I try to apply the scientific method, try to understand reasoning, try to find a solution. And this is exactly the core of my time management coaching business as well. Professionally, I had a little bit of a background there as well. I used to work in pharmaceutical industry, Pfizer, Novo Nordisk, and I moved to medical, AC and Becton Dickinson. There, 3 of them are American companies. I don't think my accent comes from that. But you know, coincidence. And then I started working from home a while ago. It's going to be 4 years now, I think. And these are the little bubbles that you see down there are all the businesses I started while working from home. They're all different types of businesses. There's a product-based business, the one that you see in the beginning. There's a phone app. There is my time management coaching for individuals and businesses, a healthcare consultancy because of my background. And I'm also on YouTube. For both of my channels, I give time management, productivity, motivation tips. One is in Turkish, that's where I'm from, and one is in English because people were like, we don't get you. And all of this I did while working from home in the last years, like I said. So I became quite an expert in understanding the dynamics of working from home. So I'm not going to talk about myself anymore, and I'm going to start with my first tip, which is boundaries. I will try to give like different things. I know that, you know, this remote working has been around for a while now, and people are generally talking about the similar things. So I wanted to give this a little bit of a twist, but we have to start talking about boundaries because that's the one thing that is getting really loose right now. Before this, we had a boundary between work life and personal life because we had to leave and go to work maybe. So we had the space boundary, we had the time boundary, but right now everything feels like they're meshing in together. So I want to talk about the 3 different boundaries that one should think about when working from home. And the first one, and the most important one, is to create boundaries within time. What I mean by that is to actually understand when is work time for you and when is personal time. When I first started working for myself, which is obviously the easiest thing to do, you can work whenever you want, right? You can start working at 12 a.m. if you wanted to, or 12 p.m. if you wanted to. So for me, it was like, it didn't mean so much. But once I gave my day a bit of a structure, saying I'm going to be working from this time until this time, that's exactly where I found this work, personal life balance, which is the key to happiness. I'm sure every life coach says this anyway. So I decided to really structure my days in terms of time. And I created a morning routine, a work time period, and an evening routine so that I could separate my personal life from my business life. To be able to do this, I created a guideline and a very flexible ideal day routine. We're going to talk about this a little bit more, but it's basically having an SOP for your life and your days, which is basically the same thing if you think about it. And it's just something that is providing a guideline to have the most optimal, the most productive, the happiest kind of day if possible, but it's just a guideline. Like I said, I try to stick to it, and we'll get into that in another slide. The second one is obviously space. I was someone who was like, I can work from my couch, I can work from my bed, I can work from the kitchen table. But once I had my home office, and this is where you're all guests today, and it changed everything. My productivity really skyrocketed. And I think I'm very fortunate to have a room dedicated for myself. But it's not about the room, it's about the space that you set up perfectly, having everything that you need, just like close proximity to reach and get. It could be a room, it could be a table, but the dedicated space where you organize for yourself. I'm a big believer in organization. The more organization you have in your space, your personal space, kitchen or something, and in your office, the better, because the mind, and I'm saying this as a scientist, the mind actually works better when there are not too many obstructions and inputs coming from the stuff around you. It works better when it's a little bit tidier and there are not too many things. Plus, if you don't have an organizational system, you lose a lot of time looking for things. Even in the computer, looking for files and folders and stuff like that. It is time that we don't actually see, but when you combine that searching for stuff time, it's a bunch of time, really. And that's the only resource we can never put back. This is the only thing in life we all have equal, but it's going to go and it's done. There's no putting time back. So that time that we lose while just looking for things is just lost. And the other one is basically having boundaries between your personal self and your work self. And what I mean by that is actually putting work clothes on. And you see that I have a full face of makeup. This is kind of for you because it's full, but I do have makeup on every day because it makes me feel like I can't have a nap because I have a face, with makeup on. I wear jackets, I wear my work attire, I even wear shoes. And I tested these over the years. It puts my brain into this conception, let's call it, of this is your work time, because you're in your work clothes, because you're in your work shoes, because you have your hair and makeup done if you already do for yourself. Whatever it might look like for you, I put on clothes that I would normally put on if I was going out. It prevents the couch slouching, and it definitely increases productivity. It's a trick kind of thing, but let's move on to distractions. I know that this is crazy happening right now because the first one is people, right? Everybody in your household will, and probably already do, talk to you. That's the thing, because you working from home is working from home maybe for you, but maybe for everyone in the house, it looks like you're on vacation. Maybe people don't understand that this is the time where you're not on vacation and you're not there to chat with people, but it happens. What happens with my husband, and we both work from home, is we have this oh, did you do that? Did you order groceries? Did you these little chats every day during tasks? Is not the 1 or 2 minutes lost, it's the concentration lost. So getting out and getting into the flow again, 10, 15 minutes maybe, that's the killer of productivity. So right now we have a weekly meeting with my husband where we talk about, these errands and stuff. But when people talk to you, the solution that I've found that works best is just to have a clear communication. I'm not here to chat. I'm in the kitchen, I'm grabbing coffee, but I don't have a minute to talk because I'm in my head, I'm thinking about something else. So I'm not going to be able to talk to you. Let's discuss this after 6 p.m. or whenever your time boundary is happening. If you have a door, close it, of course. This picture is, I think, brilliant. And this is pre-corona. I think there's nothing wrong with putting something on your back if you have to, just saying that I'm on a tight schedule, or I'm on a schedule because I control my day. So please don't disturb if you don't have to. If I'm not on fire, please don't talk to me. I think it could have been written in a softer tone, but essentially you're telling people that you're not there to chat. And if you ask that, if you say that, they understand. But if you don't, of course, they will come back and keep talking to you. The only exception to this is, of course, kids. I think just keeping them busy and planning activities that they can do on their own, if possible, would be the best idea when it comes to having kids around. And I found there's so many amazing Facebook groups out there for family lockdown ideas for kids to, you know, just play on. I learned English when I was home. I think I was about 6 or 7, and my parents got me a game of English learning. I know that there are so many crazy things right now, but back then it was like these cassette players. I don't know if you remember that. I used to have those, and I used to play with those. I was on my own. My parents were okay working on their own, and I was learning English as well. So there are many good ideas and products out there, and those Facebook groups are just brilliant. But people are not the only distraction. The other distraction is happening more than ever now, but it was always the case, are emails and phone. This is about being a responsive person. What happens sometimes is we answer an email as it comes, we answer a phone call as it comes, and there's another email, and there's another phone call, and there's this and that. And us being responsive is actually meaning that we're being controlled. Our day, our time is being controlled by all of these inputs. That's where when I noticed that, I was like, okay, I'm not going to allow these inputs control how I work and when I do what, because that's literally giving your freedom of, you know, your schedule to someone else, whoever that might be. Maybe it's clients, maybe it's something else. But being too responsive is exactly giving control of your day to someone else. So emails, how can you actually prevent that distraction? There are 3 things that I've written down there. The first one is inbox pause. This is an add-on you can put on Outlook or Gmail or, you know, Mac Mail. This is literally holding emails and preventing them from delivering into your inbox. So they've been delivered, but you don't get the notification unless you click a button and say, okay, unpause, they can come in now. So you don't get the constant, like, you know, notification. And I know that it's so hard not to look at these things. So it's great to pause all emails until you're ready for them to just come in, and then you answer them all at once. Of course, if your emails are important, time sensitive, urgent, or from someone that you need input from, you can create rules to these apps. And that is meaning if an email has the word urgent in it, don't pause it, deliver it. If the email is coming from my boss, which is this email address, don't pause it, deliver it. So you can say to this app what you want to come right away and what you don't want to come right away. I think that's a big game changer. The other one is inbox zero. Of course, inbox zero means, you know, removing everything from your inboxes, not just emails, but all social media and other inboxes as well, just to answer everything or delete everything and bring it to 0 new messages. But what I mean here is having an hour for answering everything and stopping after an hour, having an inbox zero time within your daily plan. I used to do this twice a day, 1 hour in the morning and half an hour in the evening. And I used to do this first time in the morning because that's just perfect. When I start working at 7:30, I answer emails until 8:30. Many people are not there yet, so they don't answer me right back. And I did my emailing for the day, and I wait until around 5:30. And if somebody answered me during the day, I can answer the second one on the day. But I did my emails already in the morning, done with it, and I close all email apps. So I don't even get the notification if I do this one. I think it works brilliantly. Again, not being too responsive is key to productivity. The second one is the phone. That is the best and the worst thing that happened to us. I love using app blockers if you can't stop going into certain apps, especially social media apps. You can do this on your iPhone if you have one, or you can install app blockers also on your browser saying, prevent me from getting into Facebook between 9 and 6 so that I can't go into the app. I think that is a really good way to stop procrastination on social media. And also, I keep my phone on silent at all times, unless I want to answer a phone call. And how I do that is I take like regular breaks during the day. And when I take the break, I check my phone, I see if there's a missed call, and I call that person latest 1.5 hours later. If there's something urgent, they'll reach me through someone in the house, I'm sure. But I don't answer phone calls because I'm doing something else. Again, I decided on doing something, so I don't allow other things, external things, come and change that schedule for me. It works really good for me to have call times and not answer any other time. If you don't have already, you can switch to WhatsApp Business app. It's a free app, just like WhatsApp, but this one has automatic replies. So when somebody texts you, they can immediately get an answer without you looking at your phone. And that auto reply function can have whatever link, whatever information you want it to say. For mine, when somebody texts me on WhatsApp, my auto reply says, "Thank you for texting me. I'm not available right now, but I will get back to you as soon as possible. If this is regarding, scheduling a call with me, please do that by visiting calendly.com/my link so that you can access my my calendar without me having to tell you my available times and you getting back to me and I say that works and then you say no, that doesn't. You just see my availabilities and you book it, and I'm not even checking my phone during this whole process. Imagine if you were using 2 emails and 5 minutes in total to schedule every single meeting, how much time you can save in total in a week or so. I think it's at least a couple of hours that you're saving just by not scheduling things manually. And the last one is putting the phone away if you're not working on your phone. This is again a huge thing for me. I leave it in the room, but somewhere I can't grab it easily. I have to get up and walk to get my phone, and that is preventing me from going to it. It's the same as keeping snacks at home. When you don't have unhealthy snacks, it's not usual that you're going to go to the grocery store and buy and come and eat. It's the same thing. If you don't have your phone within the reach area, you'll probably not grab it and check your messages or check your social media. These work best for me, but if you have other suggestions or questions, we will have a Q&A session in the end anyway, and we can talk about other really cool apps and tools about these things. Let's move forward. This is the ideal day routine. I absolutely love this. Like I said, it's a guideline, it's a standard operating procedure. And the key about this is it's great if you have it, it's great if you can follow it. It's an ideal day, but it's very flexible. You can move things around. You see an example here, but I will talk to you about how to do it. I have a full YouTube tutorial on this. Just briefly, it's about first understanding your non-negotiables. Of course, you're going to have to sleep. Of course, you're going to have to eat, work. Maybe working out is a non-negotiable for you. So making a list of those things that are absolutely going to happen every day or on an ideal day. Then when you write these things down, you time each of them. What I mean by that is I sleep for 8 hours on an ideal day. I eat for an hour, half an hour lunch, half an hour dinner. I grab, a breakfast smoothie, so it's not counting for time. When you time each item, that already creates this, I have 24 hours, but I have 27 hours worth of things. Of course, I'm going to be late. Of course, I'm going to be stressed because that's never going to work out, right? So you understand how your daily time is enough for which items that you want to include in your life. Then the third step is understanding when to do what. If you're a morning person, if you're productive in the morning, that, important task of the day should probably go to the early morning hours. If you want to sleep longer and you want to start work by, 8, then you understand when you need to be going to bed kind of thing. So when to do what, if you're working late, if you're working early, and understanding where your body, where your mind works the best, that helps you putting things into place a little bit already. Then by that, you can understand, like I said, when to go to bed. If you want to start work by 7:30 like I do, I have a 2-hour morning routine because I am not a morning person. I enjoy taking my time and I enjoy getting rid of the, whole workout thing early in the morning so I don't have to stress about it. I wake up at 5:30. I use phone apps to analyze my sleep, and that told me that I need 8 hours. I tested, it's 8.5. So when you go back from it, it's 9-ish, 9:30. And I understand that I need to be in bed by that time. And I go and reverse engineer from there as well. How long do I actually need to chill with my family in the evenings? Because that's the big chunk of time, right? If you eat dinner at 7 and you sleep by 2 a.m., that's full 7 hours chilling. That's literally 1/3 almost of our days. And understanding what works how is giving you the flow already. You see this example on a Google Calendar type of form, doing 50 minutes of email, a construction site visit. This was an old example, of course. Block of work. This is a guideline. It's amazing to use it if you can. And how you use it is you understand that this is perfect and you have a lunch break at 12. So when someone comes to you and says, we're going to have a meeting at 12, you can say, no, because 12 is my lunch break. If you treat your own personal things as a meeting, give yourself that same respect that you would give to a meeting. It will create the flow that you want in your days, which will give you the control, the motivation that you might need working from home. If you don't want to use something like that, you can use alarms on your phone as well. I have an alarm at 9 telling me you should be going to bed if you want to wake up early tomorrow. So it nags me. I have a couple of them actually telling me, even if you're watching a movie and it's great, now it's time to go to bed so that I understand what time is for me, what is the time to do what. And it's working brilliantly. Just alarms function, simple things make a big difference. So when it comes to the non-negotiables and the prioritization concept, I know pretty much all of you probably saw this Eisenhower matrix of importance and urgency. I know that, the high importance, high urgency things are the most important and, you have to do that. But I've never seen anything like this before. This is basically telling you how to use the matrix. So once you put your things into, is it important, is it urgent matrix, then you know that you're going to be tackling the high important, high urgent first, but then high important, low urgency kind of items the second. And this second one actually gets very confused with the third one. High important things first, high urgency things second. This helps a lot as well when it comes to prioritizing your tasks, because these high importance, low urgency things become high importance, high urgency things if you don't tackle them as soon as possible. So I thought I would include this quick little slide there as well. Right, planning. Like I said in the beginning, we used to have this preset structure to our days before, but right now, full control is in our hands because we don't have that, I have to take this bus, this train, be at work at this time. We are in full control. There are two techniques that I absolutely love and recommend to everyone who wants to start planning a little bit more. The first one is batching. I think this is revolutionary, honestly. When you batch, when you accumulate similar tasks together, it has been found that you spend less time on them. The example on the left shows a lot of social media breaks. On the right, if you batch similar things together, you actually don't, because you already have that social media batch there. When you're writing client proposals, when you're emailing, when you're having meetings, try to accumulate similar things together, because that will decrease, first, preparation time, and second, concentration time. When you're in your writing mood, your writing flow, answer all the emails at one go. When you're in your talking flow, go and do all of the meetings if possible at once. I batch film, so I only film once a week. All my lights are set up that day. I have, face on and stuff like that. So I don't have to spend the time on getting ready, getting the room ready, all of that stuff. I batch everything possible, and it can save you up to 2 hours a day. That's massive. And blocking is calendar blocking, basically to understand when you want to do what. Is scheduling on Google Calendar, but when you block things before, you can block your week on a Sunday evening, for instance. You don't have to think about things. You don't have to say, oh, I need to do this today, or I have to do this week. You can just put it somewhere, schedule it in, and you can say, oh, okay, I'm going to tackle that when that time is here, so I don't actually have to think about it or stress about it until that time comes. Many people use calendars for meetings and other things, but I put there showers, everything that takes time, which is literally everything we do in life, is in my Google Calendar. And it's very flexible. You can just move things around if something comes up. I always leave an hour of blank time for, life. But it's brilliant to see, especially if you color code it like this one, where time goes. And if you look back and say that, oh God, I answer emails 4 hours a day, and that's an admin task for me, that's a massive realization in my opinion. Right. 2 little gamifications, maybe you haven't heard before. The first one is Pomodoro. It comes from the Italian tomato sauce, I think. And Pomodoro technique is the perfect work and break structure to maximize productivity. It says if you work for 25 minutes and give a break of 5 minutes, it's going to keep your mind especially productive, because the work time is not too long to tire and, deprive the glucose levels. 5-minute break is not too short, but not too long to get out of the concentration. It's the perfect structure. And the Pomodoro technique says, do this 4 times, and in the 4th session you have, give a longer break so that your brain rests a little bit more. This could be different for everyone, in my opinion. My work breaks are a little bit, my work time is a little bit longer than that. But I think applying something like this makes it super interesting to see how much break time you actually give. And like I said, we don't take the phone, so I use a kitchen timer for this. Actually, that one kitchen timer that is shaped like a tomato to make it cute. I just set it to 25 minutes or 35 minutes sometimes, maybe even more. I work and I'm literally chasing myself. I'm literally racing with myself to get as much as possible done in that 25 minutes. And I'm like, okay, after this, when it beeps, I'm going to have a break. So let's get the best out of this 25 minutes. It increases efficiency. If you want to do this, if you want to try this, then I can recommend you the second one, which is the power hour. That's a little bit easier than this structure, but it's again setting a timer, an alarm for 1 hour, and try to get as many things as possible. It is a fact that when we compete against something, time, yourself, someone else, we become more efficient. Power hour works great for things that are taking under less than 30 minutes. I have a to-do list for, shorter than 30-minute tasks. And I try to tackle as many of those things in that power hour as possible. What it's also great for is actually cleaning. If I clean without the power hour, I can take 4 hours to clean this house. If I do the power hour, I'm like, I have 10 minutes. I have to be really, I need to get to it. And it works. I can do the same exact thing in 1 hour as well. There was a saying about this. If you have 5 hours to do something, you're going to do it in 5 hours. If you have 1, you're going to do it in 1 hour. So this is basically gamifying that whole concept. And you can use just 1 power hour in once a week to get so many little things done, especially admin tasks work perfect with power hour. Right. Habits and routines. I don't even have to tell you this, but right now is the perfect time to build good habits because we don't have this leaving and changing structure. We're in the same space. So if you want to get into some habits and some routines, starting now, building it now, and having it included in your life, a part of your life, will make it easier to stick to it once this is all over. And of course, morning routine and evening routine are going to be the 2 that I suggest to have as a routine. Morning routine to set the tone, basically how you start a day is how it goes anyway. Having nice things, having non-negotiables, a short and sweet morning routine that make your day start perfect or close to perfect is a success habit, actually. Evening routine, how can I be more productive for the next day? Can I prep anything before? Because we all know that we're not great in decision making early in the morning. So maybe even like deciding on what you're going to wear or what you're going to have for breakfast the night before could take less time and less mental power. Of course, evening routines are more flexible, especially if you have other people in your household. And the duration is also flexible depending on when you want to go to bed. If you want to have a late night, always have a nap don't sleep in, always have a nap afterwards if you have a late night in. But yeah, evening routines where I personally love to prep for the next day, tidy a little bit, clean, and just feel like, okay, I can relax now. Everything is done. I'm ready for the next day. I checked my schedule. I blocked my calendar. And that is when I really de-stress and decompose. Other habits, of course, getting into goal setting habits. You can decide on what core values you function the best with, and understanding what habits would serve them. Maybe understanding what will help you with being motivated. I'm talking about inner motivation, not the one that, you know, happens because you have to do something for someone else, or if it's nice for someone else, but something that comes from within. What kind of habits will actually create this for you? And of course, having accountability when creating these habits. Maybe doing it with a friend it's just helpful, because we're all creatures of habit. And when we do something with someone, it's somehow easier for us because we see that that person is on the journey with us. And I know that many people are craving to get into more good habits. I'm sure you can find an accountability buddy, as they call it, during this whole corona crisis. Right, waking up early, very, very quickly. I just want to ask this one question first. Why do you even wake up? Because that's a question I get a lot. Like, why do you wake up so early, even on Sundays? And I'm like, and they say this too, like, why do you wake up so early on Sundays? You don't work. And I'm like, I don't wake up for work. I don't wake up to work. I wake up to start my day. Why would I not wake up? So why do you wake up? Do you wake up to work? Do you wake up to start, you know, doing something for your business? Or do you wake up to start your day, preferably on your own terms? What is really the difference if you wake up early? That's another one. You sleep 8 hours anyway. The awake time is the same hours anyway. So why should I struggle and wake up before, you know, everybody else? The reality is, oops, don't do that. I'm sorry for that. The reality is actually is different because of the example I just gave you before. If I eat dinner by 7 p.m. and I sleep at 2 a.m., that's whole 7 hours there, right? And probably after dinner, I'm not going to be much productive because my body and my brain are going to be tired. My family or my friends, like whoever I share the house with, might not be working. So I might want to, you know, chill or watch a movie or do something with them anyway. So that 7 hours is generally not productive hours, but it's necessary. I'm not saying that that chill time is not necessary. I'm just saying, is it really 1/3 of your day necessary? Maybe 2-3 hours is enough. And from that, you get 4 hours different. If you spend 3 hours in the evenings, you get 4-hour difference by sleeping early and waking up early. And that's where it actually really makes the difference. The work benefits, I told you, before the whole world wakes up, just answering emails, getting a lot of things done before they start the whole responding mode is just amazing to have. You're like, I already did so much. Right? And that's the third point. If you're someone who is getting motivated by accomplishment, when you see that you do something, it's done, you're accomplished, and then it gives you this feeling of, oh, I want to do more of these. If you're someone like that, then definitely try waking up early, because when it's noontime and you're getting ready for lunch, you're like, I already did 20 things. And that will make your afternoons even more productive in return. And of course, you can do the other thing around, do the really hard thing in the first thing in the morning, which is called eating the frog. That's also another thing. Like, oh, I already got that really important, the one thing that I really didn't want to do, that's done. So whatever I do for the rest of the day is just going to be bonus for me. And that is already inner motivation there. And of course, if you wake up at 9, start working by 10 or 10:30, and you know that you're going to have dinner, you have less time, probably you're going to stress about that, right? Oh, I have 5 hours, I need to finish this. But if you're ahead of the time, you can just stop and, you know, if you're working for yourself especially, just stop and, you know, have a workout, have a walk, do something that makes you happy. Because those are the things that are good investments in time. Maybe you want to include a new hobby. If you get your work done as early as possible, you'll have the time actually to spend on your hobby or something like that. Very briefly, physical well-being. I'm not an expert in this. Yes, I'm a scientist, but I'm not a doctor. So I'm just gonna tell you what helped me while working from home here. Snacking is inevitable, but having healthy snacks if possible, because it's so easy to gain weight, as I know many of you already face that reality. Supplements. That's me as a scientist telling all of you, many of the things that our bodies need cannot be taken or absorbed from food. For instance, calcium. You can drink gallons of milk. Your body will not be able to absorb that amount that you need. So supplements are necessary, but depending on what you lack. So before this, I would have recommend to have a blood test and understand what you lack and take the necessary supplements. But right now I can just say multivitamins to support your immune system as well, because that's the thing. Viruses get into our cells and our immune system is fighting with those infected cells and the virus that is replicating within our body. They use us as a production facility. And if we can supplement our immune cells to attack the virus better, you'll probably not have any corona-related symptoms, even if you have it. And of course, doing a little bit of workout goes a long way. I do a morning yoga session, about 20 minutes, more than enough, and it gets better. Definitely goes to the first picture after a certain time. Our bodies really respond really, really fast. Super interesting. On the right, you see a very interesting daylight lamp. When I moved from the sunny Istanbul to Switzerland and from Switzerland to the UK, of course, I had some daylight issues, right? And that actually increases, and like it makes you more efficient for sure because of the production of vitamin D. So if you can get natural light, maybe a vitamin D supplement, but this little baby here, the daylight lamp, completely saved my mood. I was becoming more and more cranky every day until I got this guy and I sat in front of it every morning for 10 minutes and got all the exposure that I needed. It mimics the daylight. So it gives you the vitamin D production that your body needs. If you can't be out, if you don't have a garden or a balcony, this is a really good investment. Tested and recommended for sure. And I think this is the last one here. If you have a team, I don't even have to tell you this, but please do check in with your team daily. I attended a mental health related seminar, not even a seminar, it was a whole event last year. And it was really interesting to hear many people who work remotely. And by the way, this is a corona life right now, the lifestyle that we have, but it was going to be in 2030 anyway. It was known that we were all going to be working remotely way more. It's just happening faster. So all of these things will apply anyway after this is over. And during that event, they were talking about the workers that were, working remotely. If they are not checked in every day, they were feeling really isolated, and there were some suicide cases as well. So the importance, not just for the efficiency and productivity and the work getting done, but the importance of human connection is really, really important. I have some tools here for working remotely as a team. Slack, if you're not using it already, is brilliant for instant messaging. That is a little bit more professional. Discord, I just found that incredibly useful platform. It has chat, it has live stream, it has video and file sending options. It has pretty much everything one can need in terms of communication and file transfer. So you can check that one out. And it's private to whoever you add to your space. So that's really, really cool. Actually, YouTube is working with them right now. So that's how cool Discord is. And of course, the project management tools. If you're not using them already, having a Trello board or Asana. Monday has been advertising a lot lately. Just having a project flow, assigning things on Trello to people, understanding what they're working on currently, and understanding how you can support them makes the whole teamwork more efficient while we're working remotely. I think that's about it from me. Thank you so much. Before I finish, I just want to share these two things with you very quickly. On the left, you see a QR code that will go to my time management and productivity website page for businesses. But the right one is more exciting in my opinion. That's a brain dump prompt list. That's a freebie on my website. It has a lot of questions to prompt things to come out of your brain that you can put onto paper, so you can use your brain as a processor, not as a storage device. And all the things that you were like, oh yeah, I needed to do that. Oh yeah, I needed to send that card. You can just put into paper and hopefully put into your Google Calendar. That creates so much relief in the brain. You can just go and download it on my website if you want. So I'm done. Any questions for me?
Thank you, Gamze. That was very comprehensive. I didn't ask you earlier, and I should have done, but are you okay to share your slides afterwards?
This is an online platform. I don't know if I can, but if I can, I will absolutely send it to you so that you can share it with everyone else.
Yeah, I think you can maybe convert it to a PDF or something. Does anyone else have any questions to kick us off? Can I ask a question then, just to start us? So early on in your presentation, you were talking about not having distractions,
yeah,
and when you have a break, not to chat about, I don't know, the shopping or the housework or something like that. I know, obviously, a lot of people advise, particularly now we're working from home, that we need to take regular breaks.
Yeah.
So I accept that you're not advocating that we don't do that, but it's really difficult sometimes, I think, to not chat with other people in the household.
Okay, let me clarify that. Yes, I do take breaks, and the Pomodoro technique is how I take my breaks. And I do talk to people, especially my husband. I go give him a kiss, or I ask how he's doing, or whatever else. I don't particularly talk about things on a longer term, like on a longer time. What I mean by that is, oh, by the way, hun, did you order groceries? Is not a conversation I'm going to be having on my break time. Because that's for me to not actually think about something, to actually empty my brain a little bit. All of those things, especially with my husband, what we talk about in general are, of course, business things, but also, dogs' vaccinations, reptiles, whatever, because we have a pet reptile as well. Something in the house, cooking schedule, like we plan our meals for the whole week, so we eat healthier and make better decisions. That plan, groceries, whatever you talk with your partner that is going to take longer than that, decision moment, we leave to a 2-hour meeting on Saturdays. We sit down with our planners, and I'm like, oh, I wanted to ask you, what are we getting for the birthday of la la la? We discuss that there, not during my break or his break. That's what I meant, if that makes any sense.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just ask, does that, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can I just ask, that seems really alien to me, that the personal side of life is literally run like a business. I don't know if anybody else is feeling that, but that is so alien to me.
I can totally understand that. It's a different approach. I think that's the key about the boundaries that I talked about, because there is no personal side when you're at work, right? When you were maybe in the office, probably you weren't grabbing the phone for 10-15 minutes and talking about a birthday present idea with someone. It's applying the same exact thing. You would have waited for going back home and having that conversation after 6 p.m. probably. Same exact thing happens here. We have lunch together. So there's a whole hour or half an hour sometimes that we talk. Again, it's not about not having any human interaction. It's about not getting tasks into your day flow, which, like I say, you wouldn't have done when you were in the office anyway. It's exactly the same.
I do that automatically anyway, so maybe I don't think about it as much. If I'm at work, I'm at work. That's it. Whether I'm at
exactly home. But you're at work now. That's the key thing, right? It's the mindset of being at work, not the physical being at work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But really good question.
Some questions on the chat if you wanted to pick up on them.
Absolutely. Not being able to connect. Oh yeah, the internet problem, Vivian, I agree, but everybody's online right now is absolutely crazy. I think what will work really well in that is just not having the video if it's possible. We sometimes just turn off the video and it works really well. Emma said that I hope that was helpful. The video is making a lot of difference. And also, if you can connect with a cable right now, that makes a big difference. Wi-Fi seems to be the one that has a lot of issues. Emma said, thank you, very comprehensive. Marcia said, taking regular breaks. Absolutely. And we can talk about it right now as well. Like, what is a good work break structure for you? Some people work for 2 hours straight and take a half an hour break. Some people work 25 minutes and 5-minute break. Understanding your patterns and when your brain gets tired, because this guy consumes glucose, right? And that is different for everyone. When your brain gets tired, it's time to stop and feed it back with something, even if rest only. I think it's different for everyone, and we can chat and understand how it works for other people, because generally the average of, a small group of people is reflecting perfectly on what's the ultimate one. Sorry.
One of the things that we've introduced at the chamber actually is that very soon after we all started working from home was a ruling whereby we have an hour at lunchtime from 1 till 2 where we don't call each other. We're not allowed to call each other.
Right.
So we can have, and we shouldn't be on emails, but obviously some of us have to be sometimes. But it's really good actually, because you've got that hour of peace where you're not going to get phone calls and be interrupted, and you can go and get some lunch and have a few minutes to relax, hopefully, before you get back onto the afternoon session. So I don't know whether other people in other companies have got a ruling along those kind of lines, but I have to say that we've been doing that for the best part of 8 weeks now, and I have to say it's really, really helpful.
And just to add to that, the reason I introduced that is what it is giving you permission, or me giving the team permission to take that hour. It also means that they can't contact me for the hour either, but it gives them permission to actually take that time. And I think that's what we have to do. We have to give ourselves permission to take some time. And, the chamber team are fantastic, but we do end up just carrying on. We start as soon as we start in the morning, and we literally go all day. We're meant to be walking, we're meant to be doing these things, but we know we're meant to be doing it, we just don't necessarily do it. So having the permission and giving that to each other really does help.
Absolutely. And that's why I keep my phone on silent anyway, right? I give my permission
not to answer it
myself 24/7 kind of. It was hard in the beginning. My friends and family were like, we can never reach you when we call you. And I was like, I understand, and I will explain, like, communicate, right? This is why I do it. If I answer you now for 5 minutes and another one for 20, and a WhatsApp messaging is never ending, that is me answering to all of these things every day, all day. And I'm on YouTube, right? That makes a lot of, messages coming in to your like social media platforms as well. I can't be answering to emails because that means I can't do anything else. And when I explain this to my friends, I'm not answering you. I'm not checking my phone. I'm not doing anything. I'm controlling my life. And you should be really proud of me for resisting that procrastination and resisting that answering messages and emails and being productive and creating products, videos, like courses, whatever I create. You should be really proud of me. And once they understood that, they were like, I called you, you call me back when you want to call me. And it became a thing. They understand. And after 6, 7, I'm like, I'm not going to check my business calls. I'm not going to check my business emails. I'm not going to check my business WhatsApp. That's done. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to check it next morning. And I go and take my personal one. And I'm like, calling friends. I have half an hour every evening to call a friend. That's booked in my Google Calendar as well, because otherwise you forget. I'm a workaholic, right? I could work, but I'm like, nope. 7:30, maximum at 7 p.m. done. I'm going to give half an hour at least to my friends. And then I'm going to sit down and have a quality evening with my family, puzzle, whatever, but not watching a movie without, any type of conversation. That's another thing, like having that time with family and make it quality, because time spent is important, but how you spend that time is actually the key when it comes to these things, right?
just go on from Daniel as well. Hi, Daniel. Given the methods of communication that we're currently using due to working from home, Teams, Slack, etc., how would you suggest we ensure our communication is productive and effective?
Well, obviously, right now, many people are online and chatting a lot. That means it's not effective. What really helped me, especially lately, is to just limit the times as well, and not answering back and forth all the time. But I heard, and I've been applying this as well, when we have a business call, I'm like, can we just do it in 20 minutes maximum? If it's going to take more than 20 minutes, let's set an hour of a meeting. But if it doesn't have to, let's keep it short and sweet and understand what's going on. And I'm not saying that we need a human connection right now, right? It's great, especially some people work from home and they're alone. That's different. But to communicate that, let's write all the messages together if possible, or write as many points as possible in one message, rather than back and forth all the time, and maybe have one call a day or 2 calls a day. Write down the points instead of calling me 5 times. Write down all the points that you want to talk to me about. Call me around 3 and we'll have a 20-minute catch up. That changes everything. This is the idea of our family meeting as well. Instead of that, back and forth 3 minutes, let's combine everything, tackle all at once, and we go away with our own items. And next week we come back with new items to tackle.
As you would with a meeting, you would have an agenda, you'd stick to the agenda.
100%. And on Google Calendar, which is what we use, my husband and I have this GNT meeting. That's not GNT, it's our initials, but it can be GNT sometimes. What we do is, in the description of that Google event, we add our stuff. Like when it comes to me now that we need to do something, I'll just open that Google Calendar event and I'll add that to there. So he knows what we're going to talk about as well. I know what he put there as well. So before the meeting, I'm like, he wants to talk about this. What can I do about it to avoid that conversation maybe sometimes? So
Colette here as well. Sorry. So Colette has multiple to-do lists: family, two small businesses, school stuff, house admin. How can I organise this? Many lists.
Awesome. I love that.
Brain.
I again made a whole video about how to organize to-do lists, because those to-do lists can be really, really killing productivity. I use Trello, and in Trello, I have multiple to-do lists. And I don't allow to-do lists allow them to get too long. And how I do this is, first of all, I have an inbox, an input system. When I have an idea or when I have an email that creates an action item, I write it in my planner on an inbox page, leave it there. Next day, I sleep on it once, if it's not an urgent one, of course. I look at it and I'm like, is this actually a to-do, or is this just an idea? Is this a nice to do, or is this an absolutely must to do? First, analyze that. If you don't want to sleep on it, that's fine, but absolutely analyze if it's an idea or if it's a to do. If it's a to do. In my Trello, I have labels. I have 4 labels. One is just an idea. That's blue. I don't tackle those things. When I have the time, I can look at them and decide if they're tasks or not at this point in life. The other one is red, urgent, important. Definitely tackle them as soon as possible. Second one is important, definitely, yellow. And the third one is called, the fourth one is called one day. So it's something that I want to do. It's definitely a to-do, but it's not urgent and not up there for me. So definitely at a glance, I see how to organize, what to do from that to-do list. Another tip about organizing these lists is you can do it by, business task like admin, creative, writing, whatever your job description or, your duties might be. Adding to that, less than 30-minute items for power hours. Anything that takes less than 3 minutes, I do it on the spot anyway. Another one is, right now it's not useful, but for real life, let's call it, it's really good, is to do on the go. Things that I don't need the internet, I can do it in the tube. So why would I do it when I have the internet kind of tasks? you know, maybe you want to read something, you can download it and you can check it on your phone while you're in the tube. That's really useful. So basically organizing it by how long they will take and when you can tackle them, but also batch concept, similar things together, so that you can have a 3-hour admin stuff, and in your admin to-do list, you see the red ones and you do those red ones as soon as possible. Is this helpful, Colette? Colette, are you still
Sorry,
there?
I was just unmuting myself. Yes, very helpful, because that's my biggest problem. I feel like I haven't got enough hours in the day to juggle everything, and I'm forever looking for the perfect solution. So I'm downloading apps, and then I'm going back to paper and pen books.
Right.
And of course that takes up time as well. So always looking for a better method. So yes, thank you. I'll try that.
I'm so happy that it helped. I think a good fusion of paper planning and digital planning is the best. Paper you can't ignore, it's there. That's why it's great. Electronic is flexible, that's why it's great. So having a combo is the perfect system, but there is no one size fits all. And I make every week 1 or 2 videos about these techniques on my YouTube channel, if you want to check it out. So the to-do thing I explain a little bit more detail there. Hopefully that will help you. Will make me very happy.
I will have a look. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I would also say as well, especially as a team leader and obviously a mum and family, try and delegate what you can. So if you can get other people to do the bits that you don't have to do it all, which is what we all try and do, is do it all, and give somebody else the task to be able to do it for you.
Training my kids.
Yeah, exactly. Just one thing you did say from that point of view earlier, you said that you don't reply necessarily. So if you don't have to reply straight away, my concern would be is I wouldn't want to hold any other members of the team up if they're waiting for something from me. But at the same time, there is a noise level, which, you know, you do have days where you've got lots of people coming to you and they need a response. So how do you?
Well, as a manager, you have to, you know, be in touch with your team constantly. So I understand that, but maybe you can have, you know, between 8 and 10 in the morning, please don't come to me if there is not something, you know, urgent and important and on fire. So you can have your no reply time, at least a slot of time, if you can't do it the whole day. You can do 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening, depending on what's that perfect length of time for you to create something. Like for me, 1.5 hours of nothing, no inputs is just brilliant because it's long enough that I can create something. It's not too long where I'm like too gone. So that's how I like to do it, at least that. And again, if you start very early in the morning, I know it's tricky to get, I was someone who struggled with sleep my whole life. I went to sleep clinics. I thought there was something wrong with my brain. I was that person. And for me, saying that waking up early is great, it's really, really efficient because 5:30, I'm up. Nobody's up. You know, I can be doing whatever. I could tackle work. I heard that some people cook already at like 6 a.m. so that they don't have to do it in the evening. It's ready already, right? So anything that you can work on your own before the kids are up, or you can tell your team, I'm not going to be there at least for this long. You can just call this number for emergencies, but don't call if there is no emergency. We'll just help there.
Thank you. I think, unless anyone else has got any other